Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 276 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with Tim Maudlin, and he's a prolific kind of guy. I'll tell you more about him later, but he has a thing called the Daily Doable, and I watched one recently on persistence, and it was a very inspiring and touching message, and he talked about sunrises, looking towards the future, and it was very touching. And, I'm always going to do the funny side of things. And it's a good idea that you're able to do things, get messages across both in a funny way and a serious way. So he had a very serious, beautiful video there called The Daily Doable. And so I thought, I've heard that message before, but in a different way. So I looked through, I actually have this in one of my books. It's called Comic Verse. And so his message was that sunrise is to look forward to what's coming rather than looking backwards. So I found one that says, the lightning bug is a brilliant thing, but the insect is so blind, it goes on stumbling through the world with its headlights on behind. So there's a little comic version of the same idea, but check out, I'm sure he'll tell you where to find the Daily Doable. Now, I hope you didn't miss episode 275. That was Fred Burns. And if you check the show notes for episode 275, you will see me with his boy on my knee when I was playing Santa Claus about 27 years ago. All right, so that's, and he's a prolific marketer too. You want to catch his tips. Now, how would you like to hear your own voice here on Screw the Commute? Well, if the show has helped you out at all in your business or given you ideas to help you start a business, we want to hear about it. So visit screwthecommute.com and look for the little blue sidebar that says send a voicemail. Click on it, talk into your phone or your computer, and tell me how the show has helped you, and put your website on there too, and we'll give you a shout out on a future episode of Screw the Commute. All right, make sure you grab a copy of your automation ebook. We charge $27 for this, but you get it free for watching or listening to Screw the Commute podcast. And it's saved me millions of keystrokes, and it allows me to steal business from other people because they take 3 days to get back to you. And I'm back to you lightning fast. So that's what I want for you to be able to make more business, take care of customers faster and with less hassle without pulling your hair out. So you can grab that at screwthecommute.com/automate free, screwthecommute.com/automate free. And while you're at it, grab a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP, and you can put it on your cell phone and tablet and take us with you on the road. And of course, everything, all those links and stuff and all of Tim's great stuff will be in the show notes. This is episode 276. So all you have to do is put screwthecommute.com/276, and it'll take you right there. Let's see. We're in the middle of this pandemic, and people are stuck at home. And to me, everybody's talking to me like, hey, Tom, are you doing okay? And it's like, there's nothing different for me. I don't want to make light of this terrible thing that's happening in the world. But when I've worked from home my entire life, 43 years in business. 43 years in business so far. It's no different for me. And the work at home keywords are going crazy in Google, and people are starting to think, man, I should have listened to Tom like 20 some years ago when he was saying this, because there's no difference for me. So that's what I want for you. So check out our school. We have both a mentor program I'll tell you about later, and my school was the only licensed dedicated internet marketing school in the country. It's distance learning. You can be anywhere in the world and study legitimately from home and work from home. And in fact, the TV station and I are getting together at the end of this month, and I'm going to do free marketing classes for the Hampton Roads area, or anybody that's listening to this can check in too, to keep people from going crazy while they're at home and get the message across to them that you can have a viable business, lifestyle business from home. All right, let's get to the main event. Storyteller and template architect Tim Maudlin helps connect or content creators go from thoughts to words easier, faster, and more efficiently. Now, within a framework of action steps that shortcut the writing process, Tim teaches how to use tools that produce fast results every time they're implemented. Tim, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Tom. I'm so glad to be here with you this morning. How are you doing?
Good. It's been a while. You've been to the house, right? Long time
Oh
ago.
yeah, that was quite an experience. I really enjoyed it.
What
It was
year
really
was
good.
that? That's been a while.
2016, I think.
Oh, okay. It's only been 4 years. Well, I don't look backwards. Just like that poem in the beginning. That daily doable is really nice. There's some real inspiring messages you got there.
Well, yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that. That's something that I like to try to encourage people with, because so many times we look at other people and we say, well, I can't do what you can do, and I can't do what she can do. And when you do that, you just bottle yourself up and you don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And what I try to encourage people to do is to look within and just worry about number one and just do what you can do. And it just makes life so much easier, because, I can't do the things you can do, and vice versa. But if we all do what we can do collectively, there a lot of good can happen. I mean, I saw that years ago when a tornado hit our area. Just a quick story. I'm not a first responder, and I saw this tornado and I thought I just killed the boys. And we
Oh,
got into
man.
our hiding place, and fortunately the tornado went away from us. But Dad always taught me, if you can't contribute to something, you stay out of the way. Don't get in the way. So I just let the first responders do all that they could do, and they descended from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, later on, I was frustrated because I hadn't done anything. And so I designed a t-shirt, and with the help of the community, we raised thousands of dollars to help everybody out. But there was one story on that really touched me. A friend of mine, she was in her late 70s at the time, and she was frustrated because she hadn't done anything. And she heard that we were doing the t-shirts, and she said, I can buy a shirt. And then she thought a little more. She said, I can fold shirts. And she and a bunch of other ladies came over to the house and folded
Oh,
shirts.
wow.
And so, it just makes you feel really good when everybody pulls together and does what they can. And so that's kind of the genesis of that idea. I love your lightning bug story. I've even got a daily doable about lightning bugs.
Oh, really?
Well, I was out one night just walking with my dogs, and I think it was June, and that's when they come out in Indiana. And I just thought how peaceful it was. And so I just turned on a Facebook Live and just recorded my thoughts about that. So just how to appreciate the little things like lightning bugs of all things. But
Yeah, and they're just like you said, that's how this thing with the TV station came around. I'm sitting here actually watching another station, and I saw two ladies that didn't even know each other, met on Facebook, that were just frustrated that they wanted to do something, and they started. I don't even remember exactly what they were doing. Some gathering money and food and stuff for people. I said, "Well, shoot, here I sit. What?" I got to do something for my community. And so my neighbor used to work for the TV station. I said, hey, get me to the right person over there. And they're having me on to talk about, side hustles and being able to make some money, when you're stuck at home. And then I'm going to do free marketing classes for the Hampton Roads area. Of course, anybody that hears me is welcome to listen in. But again, it was the same thing. I was inspired to get up and do something to help out the situation. Tell them that's the sunrise story you told.
well, that was one of the things that kind of I was thinking of during this pandemic. It was, people are looking at the situation, and it's dire. I mean, I really feel for the people who are losing loved ones. And my wife works in a pharmacy as a pharmacy tech, and we feel like we're on the front lines. We don't know what she's bringing home.
Right.
And I'm just trying to encourage people to do something to encourage others. Now, this particular story that I wrote, a friend of mine knew some challenges that our family was going through, and he won a contest with you saw that image on the story. Sunrises proclaim the future, not the past. Well, this friend of mine knew I was going through some challenges.
Hey, we can put that in the show notes if you want to.
Oh yeah, it's a great story. I mean,
Okay.
well, just a really quick idea about it. I had lost my job after 32 years,
Wow.
and so I've been working from home, but I'm now ramping it up with this online stuff. But this friend of mine knew my situation, knew some other challenges we've gone through, and so he won this contest, and the winner of the contest got this signed uh, digital print from the author. Andy Andrews was the author of this, and he told the people at the company, he said, my friend needs this more than me. And so he had it sent to me. And when I got it, I said, I couldn't believe it because he had been so selfless with this. And I just had to tell that story because my friend uh, had done what he could.
Right.
And so it inspired me. Like the daily doable for that one was, when you see your next sunrise, are you going to look to the past or the future? And when someone did a gesture like that to me, it encouraged me to look forward, not back. You can't change the past, but you can sure change how you view the future and go toward that. And so I just tried to write that story and tell what he had done, and then encourage other people. Don't let this time that we're going through get you down. And I've been writing more about that as well, because there's so many people trying to encourage other people. I was watching a Facebook Live last night. A musician just got on there and started playing.
Mm-hmm.
And the other night, it was really cool because the lead singer from Styx got on there and sang. And I thought, he sang a song from the early 80s. And I thought, that's what we needed to hear today. And everybody doing that kind of thing, it helps us to persist. It helps us to move forward. And so that's what I'm trying to convey with these.
Yeah,
these
and that particular doable, the actual title of it was persistence, and the reason it grabbed my eye is because I do lots and lots of interviews, and people usually ask me, well, what's the main thing, Tom, that you can tell our folks about your success? And it was persistence and consistency. I add consistency to it, so, but it's persistence. Most people just quit too early. Our generation was taught in general more to work hard and do stuff, and most of the parents are trying to make things easier on their kids. That's kind of their goal. I don't want my kids to have it like I had it. Well, I say don't go too far with that idea, right? Because the kids can't do anything. Yeah, persistence is the key. You just got to keep after it no matter what happens. And how many times you get knocked down, the last person that gets up wins. So.
Yeah, and the thing with it, it's going to get tougher right before you have your success.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about all these stories of people who have risen above what seem to be odds that are just so stacked against them, but somehow they have persisted to the point where they've gotten beyond that. And when you look back on it, and then this time that we're going through right now, it's difficult. But if we just hunker down and get back to it and really work hard, we can get through this.
Yeah, and I don't know if you feel this way yet. I don't know how long ago this occurred when you lost your job, but most people say that it was one of the best things that ever happened to them. I don't know if you feel that way or ever will, but that's very common.
Well, I've got a story that I haven't written yet, but that's the title of the story, The Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me.
Oh. Okay, well, I guess then you fell right in that thing. So what are you doing now?
Well, right now, I am working, helping people create content. It's interesting how this evolution has happened to me. When I was in high school, my English teacher, she said, well, you're really good at this. And at the time I said, no, I'm not. I just kind of said, no, you're crazy. And I really didn't like the way that we were structured into writing. But, that was the way they taught, and that was one method. But anyway, I remember going back after I was in college, and I visited my school and said, I can write a 10-page paper in one evening and get an A. And she looked at me and she said, there's no way. I said, oh, I do it all the time. And, I had just developed a system. And through the years now, I've developed another system that I've started to use. And it kind of ties in with where I came from an architectural background. But as a confession, I'm scared of a blank sheet of paper. I'm petrified of it, or a blank computer screen. But with a writing system that I like to use, and it was in my bio that you read, I use that same system. It just makes bringing the words out of your head, it makes them getting out so much easier. And then you can just, once you have something in front of you, you can just go crazy with it.
Well,
So,
what's some tip you can tell people to get over that blank page?
well, what I like to do, I like to work with templates. And you know, you had Jeff on recently.
Jeff Herring.
Jeff Herring, he loves templates as well. I think he cut his teeth on the internet with templates.
Yeah, he sold a product. I still have it on my computer today, and if I get stuck, I go to his templates. Yep.
Well, that's he and I, when we've come at this from different directions, different angles, but I love templates too. And so I started thinking about how to templatize. I mean, when I was an architectural illustrator, I would templatize the drawing process. Now, take that to writing. I templatize the writing process, and here's a real simple way to do it. And this will be something I'm going to give to all your listeners.
Oh, great.
It's called the acronym template. And what you do is, and I know you love keywords. So think of a keyword in your niche. And I actually, to show you how easy this is, I was thinking about what I was going to talk with you today. And I said, well, I've got to share an acronym with Tom for him. So I wrote the acronym SPEAKER down because I know you like to talk about public speaking.
Oh, so I thought you were going to make it International Playboy handsome guy. No.
Well, well, you can go there if you want to. But I try to keep the words rather short.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
But here's what I came up with you for speaker. And what I do is I simply take the word speaker, and then I try to think of words that relate to that topic. So for speaker, I thought the S would be the subject you want to talk about. And here's the thing with you, Tom. I know that you could riff on any one of these points and have something created in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
But speaker, or S, would be the subject you want to talk about.
Right.
P, I've heard you talk about the preparation before the speech happens.
Yep.
Now, E is kind of an interesting one because I know you have a eulogy speaking course or something.
A book,
so you can talk about
an
ebook. So you can talk about that eulogy. A, you need to know your audience.
Right.
K, what if it's a keynote speech? What are the specifics to a keynote speech? E, I've heard you talk about this too. What's your exit strategy should something go wrong during the speech?
Yep.
And then R is your room setup. And I know you talked about going and visiting the room ahead of time.
Yep.
Sure it's set up just right. So there are 7 points right there that you could have 7 different articles about.
You know, that could turn into an e-course too. Could be a 7-part e-course. It could be a 7-part video. Yeah.
Right. And see, the thing that's beautiful about this, that what I like, is that, you know, Jeff was always taught us that as you create your content, you're creating your products. And so with the platform that we are teaching, you start writing about these 7 different topics. And when you're done, you bundle them. You bundle them up into a course, you bundle them up into an ebook or whatever. But you see how easy it is when you start with that acronym, that keyword acronym, and you start to build it out. There's something that happens to me when I start thinking it in acronyms. It activates something in my brain. And, you know, some people think that templates make you less creative. I think it's just the opposite. I think they make you more creative because you start coming up with connections and solutions to words and concepts that you wouldn't normally come up with. And so those are 7 points right there that I thought might be able to help you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's instantaneous. You have no blank page and you got something to work with instantly. That's beautiful.
Right. There's your outline.
Yeah. And templates, you know, when people see me speak, they never realize that the whole thing is a repeating template. The whole entire speech is point, illustration, point, over and over and over again. It's just that I vary the illustrations so that it's one time it's a joke, one time it's visual, one time it's stage movement, one time it's a story, one time it's a funny story, one time it's a sad story. You know, so it's a template over and over and over again. I can just go forever and nobody notices it. So
oh yeah.
So All right, so we got to take a brief sponsor break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a thing that you and Jeff have been working on, and also we got a nice freebie for the audience. So we'll get that in a moment. So folks, back, about 20 years ago, I kind of turned the internet marketing world on its head, where guys at my level were charging 50 or 100 grand up front for small businesses to learn the stuff that we do on the internet. And I thought, that's just too much money. And I know a lot of these guys, they wouldn't even come through if you gave them the money. So I said, I'm going to fix this. So I started charging a relatively small entry fee to my program, but then a percentage of profits that was capped. So you weren't stuck with me forever. People just loved this because they knew I wouldn't disappear on them, because for me to get my big money, they had to make way bigger money. And so 1,700 students later, it's still going strong, and it's a very unique program. Nobody at my level will even talk to you, let alone let you make appointments on unlimited basis for unlimited one-on-one tutoring with me and my entire staff. And if you join the mentor program, you get a scholarship to my school that you can gift to another person. It's just an amazingly high value program, especially, and I've been preaching this since 1996 when I started teaching this stuff, especially now. People need to make money from home. Young people are coming up with massive debt from the traditional BS colleges I have a consumer advocate TV show in development also. I know fraud when I see it. These college people would be in jail if it wasn't for them being colleges, okay? Because I actually have a quiz of the things, how they're 7 ways they're ripping people off, so causing enormous debt. So check it out. Check out the mentor program at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. And then give me a call. There's no obligation. There's no machine gun, high-pressure nest going to get you. But let's talk about your future online, and it's a great legacy gift for your grandchildren or children too, and plus they'll help you in your business because when they learn all this stuff. So greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. All right, let's get back to the main event. Tim Maudlin's here. He's a storyteller and template architect, and he just gave us a great one, like instantly right there, that you could just run with just in a few seconds. So tell us, Tim, what you're working on with Jeff Herring, who we had on recently, and then you got a great freebie for everybody.
Okay, sure. There's a backstory to this. I guess it was late last year, or I guess in the fall. I was talking to Jeff, and I'm in a part of his mastermind group, and I was having a conversation with him, and I said, Jeff, I'm starting to write stories and post them on this platform called Medium. Now, I knew he was aware of the platform, but he hadn't been doing anything on it really. And I said, this is really cool that you can connect with people all over the world, and they even compensate you, or they pay you to write. And he says, you mean they're paying you to write? I said, yeah, I'm not making a lot of money, but something I'm going to do anyway. Why not get compensated for it too? And so he said, well, can you demonstrate that to the group? And so we have a weekly meeting with our mastermind. And I just went on there and said, okay, here's what I'm doing. I showed them how to set up a story, and there's different ways you can format the text and add graphics and everything. I didn't think anything of it. And after the meeting was over, someone commented to Jeff and they said, well, Tim should be teaching this. And Jeff came back to me and he said, well, so-and-so said you should teach this. And I said, really? And he said, well, yes. And let me show you how serious I am. If you don't do it, I am. So I said, well, I guess I'm going to do it. And then he came back to me a little later and he said, what would you think of partnering up on this? And so I thought about it for a few seconds and said, sure, let's go. And so we've started a program to teach people how to create content and put them on this platform called medium.com.
Yeah, and we're going to have you're going to have a webinar coming up on this. We'll put it in the show notes. Yeah, it's I had Jeff send me a login to your program, and because I'm going to promote it for you. And so I went over to Medium, and I had already signed up like years ago or whenever they started, and I forgot all
Yeah.
about it. So I got to get back into this too, because besides just you can make a lot of money if you write a lot. I mean, a lot, but the bigger thing is you got a massive site promoting your stuff, because you can link out of there, right? You can link back to your stuff and put
Yeah.
multimedia in there, and really get a presence on an enormous site. I think Jeff said, last November they had 178 million visitors or something,
Oh
in 1
yeah.
month.
It's crazy, the numbers. And here's the really cool thing about it. I mean, the compensation, I mean, there are people who are making a lot of money with it, but the majority are just getting compensated, a few dollars here, a few dollars there. But I look at the capital in two different ways. There's capital in money, but there's capital in relationships and connections. The other night, I posted a story before I went to bed. I posted it to Medium. I submitted it to a publication and just went to bed, no interaction or anything. I woke up the next morning. Someone in India, Germany, Australia, and Japan had read it, commented on it, and shared it to people. And so you can connect with people all over the world on this platform. And the really cool thing about it is that there are targeted niches within this platform that you can focus your content toward, or direct your content toward. And then when people start to like it, they read it, and then there are really easy ways to share it. You'll have people sharing your content for you. I mean, and again, you have $5 a month or $50 a year skin in the game as far as what it costs you. But then you're building all these relationships, and people are freely sharing your content for you, and you're making these connections. You're building your list. There's ways to do that too. You can sell products on here.
Yeah, there's a direct links to. I mean, you sell one ebook, you made 4 times your investment for the month.
Oh yeah. And what I've been teaching people is I've been writing a series of stories using my acronym template. And so when I get done with those, I've got an ebook, and I can give that away as an opt-in gift, or I can sell it too. So there's just so many pluses to this platform, and you always can direct people back to your website, and we teach strategies for that as well. But it's so easy to create content on this platform. My little workaround is the editor is so easy to use. I will write a story on Medium, and I'll park it, and I'll take that content, paste it on my website, and then publish that, and then come back and publish the story on Medium later.
Yeah,
So
because you want it to show up on your website first, because whoever
exactly.
Google sees first is the originator, gets the brownie points. So you don't want them to think you're copying your own story off of Medium if they find it there first. So, so this is really great. I'm looking forward to promoting that webinar and listening in myself. So tell them how they get the Daily Doable, and how they get the freebie template, and how they get a hold of you.
Okay. My website is dowhatyoucannow.com. And there I have, that's where all my stories are posted. And there's an opt-in there if you want to get at these Daily Doables sent to you. I have, my email is tim@dowhatyoucannow.com. And then this freebie I have for everyone, and there's no opt-in required for this. I want you to see if you like me first. If you like me, then you can opt in, and we can become acquainted that way. But the freebie is this acronym template. And what it does, it walks you through these steps that I showed with Tom in the speaker acronym, but it walks you through these simple steps to create content. And the address for that is timsuggests.com/acronym STC. And we'll have that in
the show notes. So all you have to do is click on it. So
yes.
So this has been fantastic, Tim. Though I'm sure people that are used to seeing that blank piece of paper, and now they don't have to see it anymore. They come up with one word, and then they're off to the races. That's really amazing. I mean, it's like magic, really.
Yeah.
So everybody check out the Daily Double. Grab your acronym freebie, check out all Tim's stuff, and then watch for that webinar coming up. You don't want to miss it. Everything will be in the show notes. So thanks so much for coming on, Tim.
Thank you, Tom. I really appreciate it.
All right, everybody. We will catch you all in the next episode. See you later.